do a quick overview of all of my costs for my BMW over the last 4 years. I recently sold a 2001 BMW 325 Ci. This is an E46. It had a 2.5 liter engine, and I just have all the information here that I've recently compiled into one big list, ranging from January 2011 all the way to the 16th of 2015 in November. So yeah, so I just want to go over, you can see here on the right, got the chart here of sort of the prices that I went through, some of these peaks being the clutch and other various charges. It seemed to level out towards the end where it was pretty consistent amount of charges. But I'll start by going to the first few ones. So we got $75, $10, $15, $13, $40, $17, just all small things, oil, filters, just sort of those nickel and dime items. Here we go as the first large charge. This is about say 8 months into my ownership of the car. I started the car with 132,000 miles, so that's a good reference point to where this maintenance began. So yeah, so we have camshaft position sensor. This was basically all labor and diagnostics to get into this. The sensor's like $50. That was a first large charge. Got 75. It's probably oil. 19, $68, $20, $17, $17, $54. And then now we have starting to buy parts online at ecstuning.com. I'd highly recommend people who are buying parts to go to that website. So we can go ahead and go to that. So as the first charge of $102. I purchased, let's see here, the heavy-duty control arm bushings for the front control arms at $102. It's a pretty good buy. So 11, 17, 7, 121. I don't know what that was. 157. Another ECS tuning parts. We can check that out. Let's see, 157. Let's view that. So this was the fuel filter. I have a video on YouTube about this. Hydraulic, it's a bell tensioner pulley. It's a roller. Interior airbag cover, another A-pillar cover for the left side. I believe I bought the right side also later on. Then we have a $122 charge from ECS Tuning. We can go back and check that out. 122. Okay, and here we go. Here are the other pillars. The A-pillars on the right side with the pillar cover. The dead kick panel is cracked. It's for the left fender, left footwell inside the car. That was easy to replace. Spring pad upper mounts, lower mounts. For the shock replacement I did, engine cover, little housing, little piece that covers the holes for the screws. Flex disc right here for the drive shaft that connects the transmission to the actual drive shaft towards the front of the front side of the drive shaft. And then we have another charge for $1,300 in parts. Keep in mind that if I had gotten this done at a shop, you can double it or triple it with the labor involved, which I did mostly myself. That was 23 items. Wow. So let's see here. We got alternator. Didn't need to replace that. Replaced it anyway. $258. Front strut mounts, Coney shocks. That was a good buy. Front brake pads with the rotors and the pads for the front. Fuel injector O-rings. I have a video on this with like 60,000 views. People were very interested in that video because I guess no one's ever done that video before. Valve cover gasket. That was easy job. Fender hardware for all the little pieces that hold the plastic components into the fender well. Fan shroud, that was the wrong one. I had to replace that. I had to send that back. Fender liner that goes along with the hardware. This is for the front side. Thermo switch that it's for the heated washer nozzles. When it gets cold, it just thaws out all the ice. Some bulbs that I needed. Those were inexpensive online. They're xenon bulbs for only $24. I ended up buying another pair of xenon bulbs for I think it was $98 each at Craig and Auto Parts. They were OEM. So, and these are actually the fog bulbs. Actually, these aren't the HID bulbs. The HID fog bulbs. Out $1,300 bill right there. That's a pretty big charge. $182. I think that was the lights. Those were the actual bulbs from Craig for the Xenons. Okay, 44, 566 is this body work I had to get done. Had to replace the front bumper and front and the hood. That was expensive. I got it done at a pretty good rate though. That was just paint, by the way. Doesn't include the, I think, it's hard to find there. Maybe this was the charge for the bumper or something. But I did upgrade to an M-Tech front bumper, which made the car look a little bit more sporty. Here's a tire charge, Sumitomo tires. First time getting those replaced. Those were all right tires. They were good traction, good wet weather performance. Nothing too amazing. It charged for $225. That was from the dealership, I believe, for various parts. $125, $32, $470. I don't know what that was for. $126, $76, $34, $46, $21, $129. That was probably oil. $275. This might have been I had to replace the windshield 2 times because of cracks from rocks and whatnot. $50. Here's a $699 for tie rods. And yet again, I couldn't do the tie rods because it's just a pain in the ass laying on your back, working on the car, like stressing out your neck the whole time. So I just took it in for that. That was the front steering tie rods. Charged for $456 on the 4th May. I don't know what that was for. Here's another ECS tuning parts for $52. Let's see what I purchased. $52. Oh, the passenger side window regulator switch. Hey, I poured a cup of coffee on my. It like fell out of my hand and it was like exploded all over the passenger side of the car. It covered everything. It's a pretty rough day. Got that replaced. $720 from ECS tuning. Pretty shortly after I bought the Switch. Let's see what that was for. This was power steering pump, which is really expensive, $422. That was a big charge. Coolant expansion tank. These things rupture all the time. They're just plastic and used as preventative, but mine actually did rupture, so I had to replace that. Let's see what else we got here. Coolant, the temperature switch for the coolant system. The hydraulic power steering fluid. Okay. Oh yeah, here's the clutch deal. So I got the clutch replaced, I think at about 160,000 miles. And it was a relatively ridiculous story. I was in the city, driving around where I live, and sort of just launching off stop signs over and over again. I must have done it like 25 times, and probably more like 50 times. It was like 3 in the morning. And I eventually ended up frying in the clutch to a point where I couldn't even get into gear. Luckily, I was really close to my mechanic. So I ended up just leaving the car there at 3 in the morning with the hood up. And then I get the clutch replaced, and I went to the shop the next day. He showed me the clutch, and it was literally a ball of plastic. And I was like, that does not look like a clutch to me. And apparently it was. So I got that replaced. The flywheel was like $1,000. The clutch was like $400. Maintenance was, the labor was like $800. So a lot of labor there. I actually got a single match flywheel, so that improved the performance of the car. $84, $229, $129, $770 for the water pump. That was a ridiculous charge because I had actually ordered a thermostat housing and I replaced it myself. And I replaced the water pump like a few miles before that, and it was leaking. I didn't know what the hell was going on, so I just dropped it off the shop and had them do it. There are limits to being your own mechanic. They know a lot more than I did, so I just went ahead and had them do it. So $770 for that. It was basically a redundant charge. $71, $54, $123, $18 refund from the dealership for some reason. Here's a pair of tires, Aspens. They were really shitty tires. I just needed tires, so I got the cheap ones. and here's 12. These are all ISM tuning in San Francisco. I went that in for a fluid flush. So it was like transmission fluid. This was like differential fluid and coolant. I think it was brake fluid and some other power steering fluid, I think. So this is all fluid changes. So we have about $1,300 in fluid changes. That was sort of the end of the car's life. It's 200,000 miles. I only drove it for about 9,000 miles after that point. $84. Here's ECS tuning, more parts, $433. Let's take a look at that. Let's see here. $433. Let's view that. This is a big brake job. Yeah, so I got brake pads front and rear, the caliper compressor. I replaced the parking brake. It's located in the rear. It's sort of like a drum brake type setup. Aluminum power steering pulley. I had chipped it, taking it out one day. I had to replace that. Hydraulic belt tensioner that had to get replaced. It was shot. Mechanical belt tensioner. That was. This is all pulley related things. Vacuum control valve, which is part of the. It like primes the catalytic converters for appropriate emissions at startup. Yeah. So let's see here. This is the best charge I ever had. $748 for Michelin Pilot Super Sports. Literally the best tire you can buy. I was amazed with these tires. They're just so goddamn good. Every way you can think of, hydroplaning, sheer grip, cornering ability. They're just fantastic tires. $748. I got them for $135 a piece. Plus delivery from Tire Rack was $15, plus valve stems, plus installation of Big O tires, totaled out at $748. Best money I've ever spent in the car. And we got another charge here for $548. I'm not sure what that was. Just typical BMW stuff. I just don't know what it was. Just $548. $320. Okay, another one of those mystery charges. $444 for both rear control arms, rear lower control arms, which I bent. I think by hitting a curb of two different incidences, and they had maxed out the alignments. I had to get them replaced. And then here's a $21 charge. That's the last one I paid. So you can see what's going on here at the money. It's rather expensive. Let's take a look at this real quick. You can see here I was really putting a lot of money into the car for just because I felt like it at the end. And then so the totals for what the car actually cost me were $16,467.46 in labor and parts combined over the course of 5 years. And keep in mind, I drive pretty hard. I bought the BMW to drive it hard, and that's just what sort of ends up happening. I'm sure if it was driven softly, there wouldn't be a fourth of these charges. Or softly or smartly. But I bought the car with $7,000. I paid about $630 in tax, and that totaled out for my cost for owning this car from 132,000 miles to 209,000 miles over the course of 5 years, 4.5 years, was $24,097.46. That seems like that's what it cost, because that's I remember spending just exorbitant amounts of money on this car to get it to adequate level in my mind. So I hope this helps people out. I hope people can take this into consideration that these charges do add up, and they do just and if you're really into the whole mechanic aspect of the car, you're going to want to spend the money because you know what happens when you change fluids, and you can feel it in the car. You can feel this mechanical benefit that you get from all these various you call it treatments done to the car. So yeah, I hope that worked out for everybody, and I hope everybody can use this information when they decide to buy their BMW. All right, guys, enjoy.